These are 4x4 Canarywood. I'm putting a center hole in each block. Cutting the corners off each block just to make it a little more round. Hot gluing a waste block on so I can put it in the chuck. Using a carbide tool to get the flank round and in balance. I'm using a bowl gouge to even off the face. Using some double-sided tape. I'm going to stick the two pieces together. Then I can finish them and make sure they're the same size. Now I'm going to turn the second bowl so it's the same size as the first bowl. Now I'm going to sand it from 60 grit to 600 grit. Now I'm going to clean the piece with some denatured alcohol. Now I'm going to put some sand and sealer on the outside of the bowl. Now I'm going to sand the sanding sealer with 600 grit. Now I'm using some abrasive paste. Now I'm buffing that abrasive paste in. Now I'm using some beeswax polish and conditioner. Now I'm separating the two pieces from the duct tape, and I'm gonna scrape off as much of this as I can get off before I start turning the centers of these bowls. I lost the footage of how I hollowed out the start of these holes, but you'll see it when I do the second bowl. But right now I'm just cleaning out the inside until I get the size of the hole I want. leveling off the lid of the bowl. And now I'm shear scraping it all smooth. Sanding from 60 grit to 600 grit. Cleaning again with denatured alcohol. Using some abrasive paste, and I'll buff that in. Now I'm applying a coat of beeswax, polish and conditioner, and I'll buff that in. Now I'm using straight beeswax on the inside of the bowls. Here I'm attaching the bowl to the chuck. I'm using some paper towel just to protect the inside, and I'm ripping off all the excess, and I'm gonna remove the waste block. I'm sanding the bottom, starting at 60 grit to 600. I forgot to record me branding my logo in the bottom. Sorry about that. Now I'm marking center on the next piece so I can glue on a waste block. Now I'm marking the depth of the rim because it has to be able to hold the rod, so it's got to be wide enough. And then I draw the circle around so I can core out the bowl. This is the part I missed on the first bowl. I used Forstner bits to dig out most of the center. Two different size bits. And I'm a little bigger than that one. I'm using my round carbide tool to dig out the rest of the bowl. Now I'm going to shear scrape the inside so everything's nice and smooth. I'm using a square scraper to scrape and smooth out the rim. Here I'm using some double-sided tape in four corners. Not corners, they're round, but the four corners I'm using tape to adhere the lid and turn everything smooth. I'm putting a waste block, but I'm not gluing it in. I'm just putting it in there to hold the piece up tight. I'm sanding the lid from 60 grit to 600 grit. I clean the piece with denatured alcohol. And I'm going to put on some more abrasive paste and buff that in. Coat of beeswax polish and conditioner, and I will buff that in. Now I'm removing the lid from the duct tape and cleaning up the edge of the rim. Then back to sanding from 60 grit to 600. I'm using the abrasive paste, and I'll buff that out. Using straight beeswax on the inside of the bowl again. I'm going to turn the second bowl over so I can remove the waste block. Now I'm using my drill to sand from 60 to 600 grit. Then I'm using abrasive paste. I'm going to finish the bottom just like I finished the bottom of the other bowl. I forgot to turn on the camera when I drilled the hole, but I drilled the hole almost all the way down. And then these peg things I bought, I can't think of what they're called, but they got a little point on the top, so you can line up and mark where your hole is going to be on the second piece. So now I'm gonna drill the hole in the second piece where that mark is. This time I'm going all the way through this piece. Now I'm drilling the second hole, opposite side of the first hole, just a small shallow hole for the magnet. This hole's getting drilled all the way through, that's for the top. Now I'm marking the rod for the maximum height that I need. Here I'm lining up and marking for the holes I need in the lid. Now I'm mixing up a little bit of 5-minute epoxy so I can glue in the magnets and the rod into the top. And I'm gluing the magnet into the little shallow holes I drilled. Gluing the rod into the top. Now we'll take a paper towel and clean up any squeeze out. This is how I make sure my magnet's lined up. I put the magnet on top of the one I just glued in and mark it with a marker so I know where to glue, what side to glue into the other end. Now I'm going to put together the Salt Cellar. That's the one that has the hole drill all the way through, and then the bottom piece, it doesn't go all the way through. And then it just turns, you put your salts in there.